I now turn to George Adam, after which we'll turn to closing speeches.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I would also like to thank all my colleagues and everyone that gave evidence, as well as the clerks, when we were going through this stage one. It's been interesting and it's been exciting. It might sound surprising to say something like that, Presiding Officer, when you're talking about the Historic Environment Scotland Bill proposes a merger of Historic Scotland and the Royal Commission on Ancient and Historic Monuments of Scotland and creating Scotland's historic environment. Well, Presiding Officer, that's where it all... I could just sit down at this stage, and I know a lot of people might think that's a good idea, but there is so much more to it, because at the same time as the bill was published, Our Place in Time, Scotland's first ever historic environment strategy, was actually launched as well. And that's the important part of all this, is the fact that this strategy will show the way forward for how we deal with this. As the Cabinet Secretary quite rightly says in the foreword, our heritage is hugely inspirational, helping to create a powerful sense of place, providing the backdrop to where we live, where we work and have fun. Our historic environment is a huge role to play in shaping a bright future in Scotland, and it is up to us to ensure that it is passed down with pride to benefit of future generations. And I think that sums up this whole debate we're having here today, because I think that's an important part of the strategy, and how our convener already said at some points that there may be some areas that are punching well above their weight, and with some of the evidence that we actually received, that's probably true. But I think the strategy gives us the opportunity to actually make sure, like Linda Fabiani said, make sure that we actually have the strategy working in all the areas throughout Scotland. You know, I could see in Orkney quite clearly that it was working well, and you could see the experience that they have with all the local authority and all the groups all working together to ensure that they do that. And our day in Orkney was special, both with the weather and seeing part of the country that I've never seen before as well. I even had the situation where the Ring of Brodgar managed to photobomb an ancient monument when Stuart Maxwell, our convener, was taking a picture. So not many people can make that claim to fame. But also at the same time when we were there with Scarabray, you know, I was talking to Liam MacArthur when we were walking down at Scarabray, and they show you the various time points within from the centre as you get to the village itself, which is some 3,100. It was 3,100 BC around that time where it was meant to have actually started. Now, I was saying to how about in Paisley we have this 850-year-old abbey, and then when Liam showed me where that actually is in the great scheme of things, my 850 years ain't a lot of time on this planet when compared to everything else. But it was interesting to see that we obviously all have, as has already been mentioned, we all have, by Jane Baxter, we all have things in our area. And this is where it comes down to the debate of how the historic environment, a definition, how can you define the historic environment? Because it's fluid. In my opinion, it's pretty fluid. What is part of that historic environment now wouldn't have been maybe 20, 30 years ago. And in my own town, you've got former mill buildings, which were older buildings, which were just industrial buildings at their time, but now they are regarded as buildings of great beauty and architecture prowess. And these things have got to be retained and used because they're an integral part of who you are, who the town is, and what makes us Paisley buddies. And that's the same in every single community throughout Scotland. And I think that is the exciting part of the idea of the historic environment. The fact that you can actually, let's not contain it, let's not box it in to a situation where we just say that's what it is and it doesn't move from there. I think that's part of the exciting part of this bill, is that we can actually continue to move it on and find a way to ensure that we can save this for everyone in the future. So in closing, Presiding Officer, I think this is a good start for us all to work together for this bill, and it's not just about merging two bodies, it's an exciting part of our future.
Many thanks.